Tick the sentences that must end with a question mark. Tick 1. I went to visit my grandparents on Monday. Can you pass me the water, please? In year 6, we go on a school journey. I live in Manchester with my family. So the main part in the sentence is it's asking us to tick. So we're not going to circle or anything, we're going to tick. And it says here that it has to end with a question mark, so we can't just take a random one. So the first thing we're going to look for is if it has specific modal verbs, any specific modal verbs that you use for questions. So there isn't any modal verbs on this one, there isn't any on that one, there's none in this one. So we can immediately see, can you pass me the water please? Can is a modal verb. A modal verb is essentially an expression, a possibility or certainty. And can is a possibility. So it's basically asking, is it possible if you can pass me the water? And they're asking if it's possible. They're not saying it is, so it's a question mark. So we can tick that one. Now the next one. Tick the sentence that must end with a question mark. We went to Scotland on the train from London. Sarah, Ellie and Grace went to the cinema. The journey to school is very long. What time will the bus leave at? So now it's asking the same sentence, but it's different question. Let me just rephrase that again. It's asking the same question, but it's giving different sentences. So again, we will have to see if there's any modal verbs spotted in each of the sentences. We went to Scotland on the train from London. It's saying they are going, and it's not we might. That means it's a modal verb. But obviously there's none. Sarah, Ellie and Grace went to the cinema. It doesn't say that. The journey to school is very long. It doesn't say that. What time will the bus leave at? It doesn't say actually. None of them say a modal verb. So that's when we can go on to step 2. Step 2 is to see if it's either command, statement or question. It's not saying that they will go to the bus. It's not saying that the bus will leave at. It doesn't say any of that, so we can see it's immediately in a question. And also, a little trick I can do is also that I can add little question marks on each of them and see if they make sense on its own. But obviously it wouldn't make very sense. And on this one, it's asking us, what time will the bus leave at? It doesn't know what time the bus will leave at. So that's how we know it's a question. So we can tick that. Before I leave for school, I brush my teeth. Pete got hit in the face by the football. Can I go to the bathroom, please? I went to the dentist last week. So now we can see, we can look, step 1, we'll look for modals. Is there any? No. There's only one in this one. But how are we certain that it's a question mark? So then we go on to step 2. We check if it's either statement, command or question. So we see. We think it's this one because this one has a modal. So we can just take, yes, it does have a modal. So we're going to be focusing on that one. Now we have to see if it's a really a question. If it really isn't one, then will it be a statement or command? It's not saying go to the bathroom, and it's not saying I'm going to the bathroom. So we can see that it's a question. Now the last step, we can add questions on we can add a question mark on each of the sentences. Before I leave for school, I brush my teeth. No, that doesn't make sense. Pete got hit in the face by the football. It kind of does make sense, but it's used mainly for direct speeches. I went to the dentist last week. It doesn't make sense. And can I go to the bathroom, please? Makes sense. So that's how we know how to identify a question. Make sure to follow these 3 steps to understand. Thank you for watching. Bye.